Hi. I feel, you know what, one advantage to being at a physical conference is you have time to like walk to the next session. I feel like the click of a link, I'm like, hi, now I'm in this session.
Right, now here I am again.
Oh my gosh. So as people are hopping off the previous resource and onto ours, I will just say one huge thank you. You know, I can't imagine doing this year with any other leadership at ODE than you, Miss Bridget Hires. Dr. Bridget Hires, you've just been awesome. And for you to be just coming off of probably what was a very short vacation, to join us today, to be able to talk to folks. I think, you know, I started the day this morning talking about, you know, grace for the pace. Like we all need to think about this. You know, we don't want to go down Negativeville, but this is something none of us have ever dealt with. You know, certainly us as operators, but you as a leader, right, in the department you're in. So, you know, right now, people are joining us. We will manage the chat. I didn't give you much of an agenda, so you take it away with, you know, I thought we might talk a little bit about the Restart Task Force and some of the resources I know that are coming readily available on KERS for folks to access. You know, today is our GPS strategy, our great planning strategies start with your leadership. So we just thank you for being with us today, and I'll be on and I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, that sounds good. So we're live, we're ready. All right, well, hi everyone. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, Maureen, for the invitation. I am so glad to be here to discuss with you some of the things that ODE is doing to get ready for this next school year. But before I do that, I just have to say that I've been on for about the past hour and I've been hearing all of the amazing things that are happening across Ohio, school food service directors, and how you're going to tackle this year and just the challenge that this year is going to be, right? And I am just so inspired. I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity to come on and just feel energized again. I know this next year, just thinking about going over those mountains of challenges might be a little daunting, but you know, I think that this is just such a strong network. School food service professionals are just some of the most amazing people that I've ever met. That I think, you know, it's just a matter of thinking that we're going to do this all together, right? We're going to get through this together and figure it out and sort it out. And on the flip side, we're going to have lessons learned, but we will get there. So thank you again for the opportunity to talk with you all today. Some of the things that I wanted to share with you is just a little bit of what we've been doing over the course of the summertime to get ready for this school year. And I think it was right around May, June, where we were transitioning from last school year into the summertime and then starting those conversations and thought process for next summer, that we were kind of like, wow, gosh, you know, what is this going to look like? What is this next year going to be? What kind of resources do we need? That sort of thing. And I was looking along in Facebook at the Tips for School Meals Facebook page. If you are not part of that Facebook page, I highly encourage it. It's a really neat resource of just school food service directors all across the nation talking about different ideas and challenges that they've met and that sort of thing. Well, I happened to be looking on that day and I saw that there was a shout out for another state that was doing an advisory board, and Maureen actually said something to the effect, wow, this would be great to do this in Ohio. And I thought to myself, wow, yeah, that is a fantastic idea. Let's do it. So over the course of the summertime, the Department of Education banded together with some fantastic school food service professionals with an advisory board to really think through resources and ideas and opportunities to help all of you for this next school year. So bear with me a really quick second. I do want to give shout outs to all of our advisory board members, Maureen being one of them. Thank you, Maureen, for your expertise and your time and your commitment that you've given to this group. We also have Ashley Ritz. I'm not sure if Ashley is on. Ashley has also been a member from Canton Local, and Kelly Minnick from Painesville. We also have Chris Hess, who's from Adams County, Ohio Valley, Carrie Woodruff from Lima City Schools, Judy Riley from Pickerington, Tracy Matthews from Clinton Massey, Lori Mowry from Fairbanks Local, Michelle Stauffer from Ridgewood Local, and we've also had 2 of our education program specialists, Scott Lindberg and Charity Blair, that have served on this task force. So all of these professionals together, what we've put together is a technical assistance restart document that right now is getting vetted through the Department of Education communications channels. We hope to have that out very soon. We also have a considerations document. It'll be more like a checklist of if you're going remote learning for your scholars, or if you're going blended, or if you're going to be in classroom, what type of things do you need to be thinking about? And I know all of you are already kind of well into that conversation, and we certainly don't want to stop any of that great conversation that's going on. But maybe when this document is available, it will help you think through maybe some things that you haven't gotten to quite yet, or whatnot. So hopefully both of those resources will be available very soon. Additionally, we are going to have some virtual town hall sessions, if you will, with our advisory members coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll put some announcements about that on our CURS splash page. When you log into CURS, into the school lunch program, you see sort of our bulletin board of information. We'll be putting it there, and as part of our weekly emails. What we envision those to be is very similar to what has been going on here, with some sharing of best practices from advisory board members, sharing of some of these resources that we've developed, and then just hearing from all of you. What kind of things do you still need information about? What type of things can we do to support you? So be on the lookout for information regarding some of these virtual town hall meetings that are going to be happening all across in different regions of Ohio. So each of our advisory board members are going to kind of take part in each of those coming up. Maureen, did you want to say anything additional about our advisory meetings?
Again, you know, I sound like a broken record, but thank you for answering the social media post. I know your time has been pulled in a gazillion different directions, leading the department's charge. But certainly, I think, you know, when we came about the advisory council, we thought about like the immediate primary goals, and that was filling out all of the waivers. And so thank you for filling out all of the waivers on behalf of Ohio. And I think one of the things that we as a committee and what we've seen in best practice is really some navigation of those waivers. And what I really like to draw attention to is that on CURS, there will be a section where you can link to looking at a summary. So I think many of us know those memos can get long and sometimes confusing to read. Bridget's team has done a great job of really bulleting the specific waivers that Ohio has applied for, what we have been approved for, and what program they affect, which I think in a chart format, I don't know, it's just my type A kind of like keeping it all organized. So I think, you know, that has been one of the primary, the first goals. Our task force was like, what do we need to continue to, you know, move through this pandemic successfully? And again, thank you for filling out all those waivers, because it's quite time consuming. And I think secondary, I think, you know, we talked about, you know, we want, most of us are very, very curious and very happy to have guidance documents like a checklist like you referenced, right? So I think, you know, everybody kind of was in reaction mode in the months of March and April, and now we still are kind of reacting to the day-to-day changes in our unique SFA environments in our different communities. But the one thing is that we can always count on Ohio Department of Ed to kind of give us the overriding guidance. And so I think the task force, the second goal was really just to create this resource center. And I think thanks to Bridget and the team, again, that will live on CURS, and it will be a clickable section where some of the things we're finding, I keep shooting Bridget emails like, hey, here's another good resource, here's another. So we're not about reinventing the wheel, but we are about consolidating the best information we can have. And I think certainly the last goal is that, you know, we are all unique and different, and I think the advisory council represents that as well. So we are directors and consultants that represent all of the state of Ohio with its great uniqueness. But certainly, again, just thanks. Hopefully that kind of it was a great summer meeting we have a meeting tomorrow, which is fun. It's always great to see your face too. And I think you're right, stronger together. I think every time we all collaborate, we just feel more and more confidence, even though, you know, we are still navigating some of the changing tides here.
Yeah, absolutely. So that segues me into a little bit more information about some of the resources that we do have now. If you have our back in March through May, we had a COVID whole child nutrition page that we were keeping with current waivers and guidance that we were publishing. Right, if you have visited that page lately, it is now a Restart education page. So your bookmark should still work and will take you to the page, but now we've officially transferred from our previous COVID and our summer feeding to how do we restart school. So you'll notice the page looks a little bit different, but again, your bookmark should still work. So keep an eye on that page, and any resources that we develop will be on that page. But as Maureen had mentioned, in that this is going to be such a unique year, then obviously we're going to need to have some unique changes and needs that maybe aren't permissible, if you will, under normal regulations. So it has necessitated the need to write a lot of waivers. And so based on the recommendations of the advisory board and some of the information that we've heard from other school food service professionals to date, I have written 19 waivers. That's been one of my summer challenges, if you will. So currently, the waivers that have been approved have been nationwide waivers. So none of the state waivers to date have been approved, but most of them that you already know is the ability to do non-congregate feeding through the National School Lunch, School Breakfast, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. Parents and guardians can still pick up meals. That has been approved again as well, along with mealtime waivers, and offer versus serve has been waived at the high school level if you decide to do that with lunch. Some of the waivers that we have written is for schools that need a waiver to the paid lunch equity. If you had to raise prices, and maybe this obviously is not the best opportunity to raise prices for this 2021 school year, then we have asked for a waiver of that. We've asked for a waiver to potable water requirement there at school lunch and school breakfast, vegetable subgroup waivers. So I do invite you to take a look at that page on our website so you can see all the different state waivers that we've asked for so far. And we will be updating everybody as those get approved. In the document that Maureen had mentioned, we have a comprehensive chart in the Claims Reimbursement Reporting System, or CRRS. If you go into that system and you go under School Nutrition Program, in the Applications menu, you click on Download Forms. And in that, we have a section that is called 2021 School Year Resources. So as we develop these resources, we'll not only add some to the child nutrition sites on the regular web page under ODE, but we'll also be adding a lot of the resources under CRRS as well. So we have the chart of waivers, what's been approved, what state waivers that we've asked for. Hopefully all of you are signed up for our weekly email that we send every Thursday. It's our items of interest. We've sent it for quite a while, and we've been trying to update if waivers get approved in there. But we've also started a weekly email called Food for Thought, where we take a particular topic in the interim while our other documents and resources are getting vetted through communications. That we've been trying to take a topic each week, like the week before was USDA foods, this past week was food safety, and just give some links to nationally recognized resources for you to, again, kind of think through your considerations for those topics. The Food for Thought resources is also in CRRS in download forms under the school year resources part. So I invite you to take a look and keep an eye on both locations there at the ODE website, child nutrition site, and also within CRRS. And as we get things approved, we will get those posted into those two sections. And also, speaking of CRRS, if you haven't looked at the training section of CRRS lately, we are adding all kinds of trainings coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We are doing them all virtually. We're trying to keep them into 1 hour segments, so you can sign up for as many topics or as little topics as you want. We're going to do a general basic training, but then we're going to do topics such as 2021 school resources. We're doing school wellness, how to best utilize USDA foods. if you haven't gone into PERS lately into our training section, go ahead and take a look at that and see all the different topics that we have added for webinars coming up. And when we add the information for the regional town hall trainings I had mentioned, those registrations will also be in PERS. So now that we've kind of gone over some of the guidance that we have and webinars, trainings coming up, I thought that I would share a couple of common questions that I get that might, you might be burning to ask. And one of them is, and I think Bob asked it, what is my thought, opinion, or advice in terms of if seamless summer waivers or summer food service waivers are going to get approved for this year, or if the current legislation will go through? And golly gee, if there was ever a year that I wish my crystal ball or magic 8-ball really, really worked well, this would be the year, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, I think, well, actually, USDA has shared with us under their current authority and their current funding level that they are not going to approve seamless summer waivers or summer food service program waivers. Simply is more funding than they are authorized to spend. Now, with that said, though, Bob had mentioned, or Bob had alluded to the fact that there is current legislation that is proposed right now to allow for no-cost meals for all students for the school year. As with any great legislation, then we have to kind of, do our schoolhouse rock when a bill becomes a law and just kind of watch it go through the progression, right? So we will absolutely be keeping an eye on that to see if it goes through. I mean, I can't, unfortunately, with any good legislation, I can't speculate if it actually will meet all the requirements to get it all the way to signature passage. So as it stands right now, we really have to think and plan and move forward in the school year under National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program. I will let you know, though, that we have heard at Department of Education, a lot of schools and districts, because they're going to a remote model and they want a little bit more time to plan, are pushing back the school year start date into September now. And if you're in that situation, we have, amongst all the waivers that we have written, 2 of the waivers is to allow for the seamless summer and the summer food service program to continue into September until first day of school, because the waivers for non-congregate for seamless summer and summer food and parent pickup both end August 31st. So it's not that you couldn't continue seamless summer and summer food, you just have to do it in a congregate manner, which would be kind of beside the point of schools going into a remote learning configuration, right? So we have written waivers to allow for schools to continue, schools and community partners, if you're in a community that is still serving summer meals under seamless summer or summer food, that we've written those waivers to allow the non-congregate and the parent pickup to continue on into September until the first day of school. Starting with the first day of school, though, one of the questions that we've gotten is, well, what if my first day of school is August 22nd and the seamless summer waiver goes through August 31st? Can I serve seamless summer from August 22nd to August 31st and then change to National School Lunch and Breakfast Program starting in September? The seamless summer and the summer food waiver is until August 31st or the first day of school, whichever comes first. So if your first day of school is August 22nd, then you have to start National School Lunch and Breakfast Program as of August 22nd. That's how you operate your meal program. So that kind of takes care with the summer food and seamless summer. Unfortunately, USDA is not considering any COVID-related closures of buildings where the children are going to the building and then go into remote learning for either an outbreak or just the decision to move kids remote learning for health and safety reasons. USDA is not at present considering those unanticipated school closures. So in those cases, you would still continue if you're going to offer meal service to be under a National School Lunch and Breakfast Program. So National School Lunch and Breakfast Program is really going to be the name of the game this next school year throughout the year. The biggest changes on those that I just want to make sure everybody's aware of is it does not allow for weekend meals. So you can't do meal packs that include Saturday and Sunday intended meals. And it also does not include any days that instruction is not occurring, like your usual Labor Day or fall days that some districts have built into their schedule. So we've got that question. One of the unique questions that I've gotten lately that I thought was really pretty creative is, can a school, even if the kids are all coming in class instruction, can the school package breakfast and send it home with the kids? Like, for example, on Mondays, you would package breakfast, send it home with the child for the intent for them to eat it Tuesday morning before they come to school. USDA has said that that is okay. That goes as part of the non-congregate meal waiver. So even if the children are all in class instruction, then if you decide that that's the mechanism that you want to provide breakfast so that when the scholars come to school, they can go straight to the classrooms and going into instruction, that is okay. So I thought that was kind of a cool question. That's come up lately. We've also had the question of, PERS tells me I have an administrative review. Am I really going to have an administrative review? This is going to be a crazy year to have an administrative review. So ODE has a 5-year administrative review waiver. So that means if you've had an administrative review starting with school year 16-17, somewhere between 16-17 and 19-20, we will not see you again in 2021. Even if PERS tells you that we actually had to update PERS because PERS scheduled out reviews on a 3-year cycle as opposed to a 5-year cycle. So rest assured, if you had a review in 18-19 and you see that you're supposed to have one in 2021, we are not coming to see you in 2021 unless we call you up and say we are coming to see you in 2021. So you have one less thing to worry about or check off your box. We're going to try to get PERS updated so that that review goes away, so you won't have to see it. And then the biggest thing that I've gotten is, how are we going to do this year, right? How are we going to make it through? Do we have to provide meals to our remote learners or our scholars? So that one's a tricky one. USDA has not yet weighed in on that if it's a mandatory or a must. But I think that as much as possible, the opportunity to provide meals, at least in some capacity, to all our scholars would be a phenomenal win, right? Because all of us know that there are children that rely on these meals for their nutrition needs. So while we will share when USDA weighs in if it's a must or if it's just a may, we certainly want you all to know that we at Department of Education are a resource. We want to help you think through this. If you are just really unsure of how you'll make it work or just don't feel like you can, call us up. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Let's get some of our network organized and activated to help you out. You're not on this island alone. And obviously sessions like this just show how much support school food service professionals have in helping to sort this out. But let us help you try to think through that. In absence of an official answer, we do want to try to make meal service available to all students in some capacity, if at all possible. We'll put it that way.
So Bridget, we did have a question that came in, and it just says, clarify for me under the NSLP and NSBP, if students choose virtual but are still the students, that they can still send home the 5 days worth of meals under obviously counting and claiming procedures. And so they're using the color-coded system that the Ohio Department of Health has. So they're saying if we go purple, which means they're at the highest risk level for community spread, they're going totally virtual. So she is, Vicki actually is asking, can she send the meals home? And I think there's been some confusion, but what I'm hearing you say is yes, and we are all encouraged to find ways to continue to do that.
Yes, yep, absolutely. So if the children are remote learning, but they would have been in a building had COVID and Corona and all this craziness not happened, then absolutely you can provide meal service to those students, and we highly encourage it as well. I think the biggest thing this year is, of course, going to be conveying to all of our parents that the meal service is now under school lunch, school breakfast, which means that now we do have to count and claim and ask you for your child's name and what school that they go to. And if you're not free eligible, that there is going to be a meal charge to these meals. I think that that's going to be really the sticky wicket of it all, is to try to figure out how best to do that so we don't over identify our students. That is absolutely not the intention of providing this meal service for all, but unfortunately we do have to count and claim the meals as free, reduced, and paid while we do provide these remote learning scholars with meals. So let us know how we can help to figure out what that means, what that might look like in terms of rosters or POS systems. I know a lot of people are not wanting to use pin pads, for obvious reasons again. But we will, as much as possible, try to provide opportunity for thinking through any challenges you have with that type of idea.
So one last question I hear from Cindy Fenor from Brecksville, go Bees. So on our application, how do we reflect that we are both feeding on site and yet sending those remote learners food as well?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So in CURS, obviously CURS and the site applications were built way before all of this happened. And my goodness, all of us hope that this is like a one-year anomaly, right? That by 21, 22, we are blissfully talking about going back to our traditional thoughts and processes and ideas and in-class learning. So we don't anticipate changing CURS too much itself, but detail when you're doing your site applications, and it asks you what days are you going to serve. Even if you're going to just do remote learning and you're going to do meal packs on Monday, you're going to want to put Monday through Friday that you're providing meals for, but in the comments indicate that you're going to do meal packs when remote learning on Mondays for 5 days, but when kids are in class, you're going to do an everyday kind of configuration. Very similarly to what we did back in March, April, May, we're going to have a survey that everybody's going to fill out. We hopefully will be launching that really pretty soon. And it will ask you officially what waivers that you're exercising. Are you going to exercise the non-congregate, the parent pickup, and that sort of thing? That will help us to capture more details on your plans and actions. But as much as possible, be as detailed as possible in CURS in your site application for what you intend to do. And then your EPS, of course, will ask questions or see what adjustments.
I love it. So I can't believe a half hour flew by. See, you were afraid.
I'm really so
one of the things about this conferencing platform, it is going to cut us off. So I can't let you go without saying from the bottom of my heart and as reflected by all these attendees, thank you so much. You are our fearless leader, and we are so blessed to have you, and we know how to find you. And maybe this just shows you how much we might have to pick this up and do some more of these throughout the year, so you can have some FaceTime with folks. We all love seeing you. I'm seeing thank yous all across the board. So if you've been in this session, in order to get your CEUs, the last question would be, yours, Bridget. Pose a question for them to answer. Anything fun, could be silly.
Oh my gosh. What is your favorite school meal?
Hey, all right.
Like mine is the pizza, the rectangle pizza that had the 3 pepperonis on it, because it looked like a traffic light, and it always made me so happy when I was a kid. Have traffic lights.
I love it.
It was like the best.
I love it. And we love it, and we love you. Thank you, Bridget. Feel free to join us at the cool unboxing and vendor fair that follows. And who knew we were all going to pivot and be so virtually savvy, huh?
I know it's crazy, but from the bottom of my heart, all of you are my heroes. That you're working through this year. I'm so blessed and grateful to be able to work with all of you on a daily basis. Please absolutely don't hesitate to let ODE know what we can do to support you.
Thank you, guys. Everybody jump over to the conclusions, and we'll see you guys. Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you.